Good evening, everybody. How are we? Hope we're all right. Great to be with you again. Hi. How's everybody doing? Hasn't it been cold? Oh my goodness. Frost and everything. Wasn't prepared for it. Anyway, it's making it feel very festive and Christmassy, isn't it? It's coming up very soon. All right. How is everyone? Are we here? Are we well? Are we comfortable? Hi Kathleen, hi Sue. So lovely of you to join me again. I'm very excited. I'm always excited. I mean, life is very exciting with Jamie, and it's getting more exciting by the day. I've got so much to tell you about, and things I can't tell you about. Hi Bethan. Hi Sharon. Hi Wendy. Hope you're all right. So yeah, we're going to be having a look at a new collection tonight. New from Sue Wilson. So that's always exciting. I always love to see what Sue comes up with. So I'm going to be showing you, walking you through that, giving you lots of inspiration from our lovely design team. Hi. Hello everyone. Gosh, you're all flying in tonight. That's wonderful. Hi Joyce. Hi Christine. Hello Sue. Hello Kim. Hi Catherine. Gosh, you're all keen, eager beavers, ready to go. I'm glad because this is very exciting stuff and you don't want to miss it, that's for sure. So I hope you've got comfy. I hope you've got yourselves a nice warm drink and maybe some nibbles or some snacks. Just get comfy and spend an hour or so with me. Be lovely. So here we are again for a Thursday night natter. This time it's a sneaky peek and we're looking at Sue Wilson's brand new collection, which is all things love and romance. But not just that. It could be weddingy, it could be Christmassy, it can be anything you want it to be. Hi Joyce, hi Sheila. So I'm going to walk you through the collection. I'm going to show you lots of gorgeous samples and we'll do a couple of quick demos and then I'll catch you up with all the dates for your diaries. So I hope you've got a notepad and pencil ready. Hi Diane. Because you're going to want to jot these dates down. Some very important landmarks coming up. Ooh, it's so fun. I can't wait. It's so hard, you know. I have to keep my mouth shut for so long. It kills me. Right, shall we have a look? Let's jump on in to this lovely collection and then I'll walk you through it. So here we are. A fantastic new set of romantic dies from Sue Wilson. I'm loving the new colours on the packaging. What do you think? Beautiful pink. Really lovely. And we've got the classic sort of minty green polka dot as well. And it works really well with that pink. I love it. I can get excited about packaging, never mind what's in it. So. Hello, Kathleen. Hi, Kath. Wasn't it exciting to see the new shop? Oh, yes. I'm going to be seeing it in the flesh very soon. Can't wait. They've worked so hard, bless them. They really, really have, and still are. Anyway, back to Sue Wilson. So we have this lovely array of die sets. I'm going to talk you through each of them. I'm going to show you what's in them and give you the prices. So let's have a look. I'm going to start, well, first of all, I'll tell you that we've got 5 beautiful die sets. Then we have 3 fabulous sentiments and we have an 8x8 stencil. So that's the collection. And I want to start with this gorgeous little heart wreath because I think this is one which will make itself useful for lots of occasions, not just for romantic occasions. It's a nice size and obviously when you cut it, well, maybe not obviously, I shouldn't say that because it's probably not obvious at all. But when you cut this, all these little hearts come out as separate little bits and pieces. So let me show you my board. So this is how it cuts, and it is 3.1 by 2.9 inches, so it's approximately 3 inches. Obviously it's difficult to measure a heart, but that'll be at the widest point and the tallest point. So it's nice and dinky. And then these are all the hearts that come out from the die cut. So you could use those as confetti, you could use them in a shaker card, you could use them to pop in the envelope. I don't know why I keep telling you this, you'll be blaming me when all your friends are going, why did you do that? Well, Gwen said. It's alright, I can live with that. Hi Jasmine, hi Yvonne. So this one, this lovely little heart wreath, is only $9.99 retail. Now obviously I am going to be going on to Hobby Maker with this collection, and that's going to happen next Thursday the 4th. So there will be options and there will be price drops. It's not available yet, so don't start panicking and where can I buy it, where can I buy it? You can't. It's going to be available exclusively on Hobby Maker next Thursday. Tonight is a sneaky peek. That doesn't mean it's been released yet. So it's not available just yet, so you'll just have to rein your excitement in a little bit, like I keep having to. And hopefully you'll be able to join me next Thursday for the launch of this collection at Hobby Maker. But this little die, full RRP, is going to be $9.99, and I think you'll agree it's absolutely beautiful. So let's have a look at inspiration from this set. Okay. So we've got some beautiful cards from the DT, and I have to say a massive thank you to Ian, Sharon, Wendy, who've been working really hard on all of this, and Sue herself, of course. So let's have a look at some of these bits and bobs. So here's a beautiful little card. I really like this. This one's from Ian. He's taken that little wreath and cut it out in white card, and then he's cut it again from red mirror and popped the little red mirror hearts back into place. Oh, sorry, I've got a question. Jasmine, how would you go about making an aperture out of that wreath, Gwen? Would that even be possible? Yes, it would, but it would be tricky. You'd get the outside edge of the shape. Let me go back to my board. So if you take a look at the outside edge, obviously when that was cut out of the piece of card, it would leave an aperture that shape. So you could then sit things back in. That's how it would work. If you wanted to, you could save the bit in the middle and put that back in as well. But it depends. If you're wanting to lift the aperture, that might not work unless you do it on acetate or something like that. But you'd certainly definitely have an aperture. I mean, don't forget, every single die when you cut it leaves the space it's come out of, and that's the aperture. They're not always usable shapes and sizes. But generally, if it's got a continuous outside edge, then it's going to give you a window. I hope that answers your question. If not, ask me again. Hello Maureen. Hi Debbie. So yeah, this is a really lovely little card and a very simple idea of how to use this gorgeous little heart wreath. Now I love this one. This is from Wendy, and Wendy's taking it to Christmas, and I love that because we are still in that period where, I don't know about you, I haven't even started making my Christmas cards yet. Might not happen, but anyway, Wendy's taking this little heart. Hearts do come in at Christmas, don't they? They do appear on decorations. I've got some hearts on my Christmas tree. Well, I haven't yet, but I will have. And that sort of thing. So it's lovely to see that done. Teamed up with the beautiful poinsettia, of course, as well. And with another one here from Wendy. This time she's cut that wreath 3 times. And if you have a look, she's cut around the outside edge of that wreath to give it a backing plate to sit on. So she's cut round the inside. I'm guessing she might have a scan and cut to do that with, and she's cut round the outside so it's slightly bigger. and then set the wreath on top of it. So that's a lovely way of doing it as well. Then we go to something completely different, and I really like this. Pale blue. I don't tend to think of pale blue as being romantic. I tend to think of going to the pinks and the reds perhaps, but why not? I love this. Bringing in those lovely DL nesting dies and cutting that lovely little wreath twice, and just matting those together. And then this is one of those lovely sentiments coming up. I'll show you more of that very soon. And then we get on to some that Sue herself has done, and I always love this when I get the designer their samples, because you can see exactly where they were going with it when they were coming up with this idea. So again, Sue, she's cut it 3 times and stacked them, which is really lovely, isn't it? And I love the pink and black combo on this. I will have a beautiful bundle of foundations cardstock for you next Thursday as well, so keep an eye out for that. And here we've got a lovely sentiment just for you. It actually comes as one full sentiment, but Sue's taken it, snipped it up and put one little word inside each heart. Doesn't that work so well? I love that. And then here's another one, and she's taken a long card this time. She's used a DL but mounted it on a much bigger panel to make more impact. And again, she's cut it 3 times in black. She's put the hearts back in a glossy white. I don't know if you can see that, but they are shiny. It's really lovely. And then we've got some little hearts here which have come from something else, and I'll come back to that. Here's the sentiment from the heart, and you can see where she'd snipped it for that previous example. And another lovely long example, and you might spot an old embossing folder in the background here. I think that was called Heart Trellis, if I remember rightly. That might be making a comeback at some point. No, it's not there yet, but keep an eye out. And she's cut it. I don't know if you can pick this up because it's quite busy, but there are 3 red and 2 in the coconut white, and then she's kind of woven this band through the middle, and that's holding them all together. Really clever. Love that. And some of the little hearts that have come out of here, she's just dotted around on there. Isn't that lovely? Really, really effective, but not too difficult to do if you've got the right dies, etc. So that's our little heart wreath, and then I'm going to move on. I'll just show you one more example, because this is showing a combination of dies, and this is showing the lovely little heart wreath here, and there she's popped that middle back in, Jasmine, so you can see how effective that is. And I think perhaps if you're trying to set this heart against a busy background but you want to separate it, that's a way of doing it. Just fill the centre back in again. But that's really lovely, isn't it? But she's teamed it up with, this is the lacy stained glass heart, which is coming up very soon, so keep an eye out for that one. But you'll find that all the hearts across the sets are going to work beautifully together. They nest beautifully, they interlock really well. I mean, there are so many options, it's gorgeous. And if you have a look at the bottom here, you can see these beautiful sweeping flourishes, and they're coming up in this collection as well. So I just wanted to show you that one because it does combine an awful lot of the die sets. And in fact, even in the background, you can see there, just about pick out that background. That's another die that's in this collection. So they're going to work, they're going to cross-pollinate, you're going to be able to mix and match across all the sets and create some stunning pieces. So that said, I am actually going to move on to the Geo hearts next. I've mixed all my bits and pieces up. Here we are. So here are the geometric, I keep calling them Geo hearts, sorry. So geometric hearts, and these are beautiful. These have got so many options. I got a bit lost preparing my boards for this one, as you can probably see. So this is a 10 die set. They are bigger than they look on the front of the packaging, and this set, its RRP is $13.99. But that, you're getting all of these possibilities and more. I had to stop because it would just have gone on and on and on and on and on. And in fact, I did also cut out some of the apertures because those are usable as well. And as Jasmine was asking earlier about apertures, as I said, every time you cut anything out, you're going to get some sort of aperture. Whether it's usable or not is another matter, but this one certainly is. So you've got these little hearts, you've got the edge from the frilly heart, and yeah, just endless possibilities. So as I say, 10 dies. So you've 2 of these geometric hearts, and these have a lacy edge, and those are each 3 dies. So you've got your inner panel, which when you cut it doesn't have an outer cutting edge, so it will give you that pattern, but it will leave it into the card. You've 2 sizes, that's the large and that's the small. If you cut that panel and this edge, then you're going to get a complete heart cut out. Aren't they beautiful? Really lovely. And obviously having all these little sections just lends themselves to being filled with all sorts of gorgeous potions. And we know what I'm talking about, don't we? Did you catch it on Monday night? Oh my goodness. How exciting was that? Oh, my mouth was salivating. I cannot wait to get my hands on the crafty concoctions. Anyway, back to this. Yes, so if you cut the 2 dies, the centre panel, she says, trying to sound all professional now, and the plain cutting edge, you will get these little standalone hearts. But on top of that, you've got this beautiful lacy, almost crochet edge. And you can cut those on their own, and they will give you this, again, large and small, and they give the lacy edge with a solid heart. However, if you cut that edge with this plain cutting edge, it will give you this gorgeous lacy frame. It reminds me of a locket for some reason, I don't know why, but it does. And obviously you can put something in the centre of that. If you cut just this edge, the cutting edge on its own, then you're going to get a solid heart that's come out of the middle of that, and a solid heart that's come out of the middle of that. And it doesn't stop there. We then have these lovely sets of plain hearts that can be used to stack. You also get the little hearts out of the middle of each of these, which are here. And then you've got these plain hearts, which again you can stack onto here, you can put in the middle of there, I mean whatever you like. You can take an aperture and put something in the middle of it and then back it with a contrast. I mean, it goes on and on and on. I quite like the idea of having this as an aperture and then this frame, putting that frame over the aperture and then doing something behind it. So you've got this aperture, I'll show you that, and then if you take, oops, that and put it around that, and then you've got the space behind it to fill with whatever you like. So I think that set is worth its weight in gold. There's so much for you to look at in there, and as I say, that one's going to be RRP of $13.99 on its own. Okay, so let's have a look at some inspiration. So here we've got the lacy edge just cut on its own to give us those solid hearts, and we've got the Just For You sentiment, and we've got the background that's been embossed with a die. My little trick. This one's from Wendy, and then we've got the little hearts just decorating the corners of those. Isn't that lovely? And here's a gorgeous little example from Christine. She's used all those little individual hearts. Do you remember these ones? And these ones from the middle. And then you get these as well in the middles of these. And she's taken all of those and cut them out of the green card to make an aperture, and then out of blue card and set them back in. So, and then just sort of scattered them. Isn't it lovely? She is good. Well, they're all good. They're all amazing. And then we have a few from Sue, and I absolutely love this. And for the life of me, I've been trying to work out what she's done. I think it's kind of silver alcohol card. Ranger did a pack of silver card that you could pounce your alcohol inks on, and I think that's what she's done. She's used alcohol inks. Isn't that effective? It almost looks like foil. It's beautiful. And then she's multi-cut this heart and scattered those across the background. Very effective. Now she's really gone to town on this one. So we've got the beautiful flourishes, which I'll show you in a sec. We've got this gorgeous geometric heart, and she's cut the various bits and pieces out of various colours and then shadow dropped it as well. But it's so effective, isn't it? With the black and the pink. And then of course we've got Jamie Rogers Crafts metallic flakes in the background of that, which is just beautiful. And again, that lovely sentiment popping in. Let's have a look at this dramatic effort. This is gorgeous. Again, she's cut with just the outside edge to get her solid hearts. Oops, that one's got a bit curled up. And then she's taken the inner plain edge and the inner geometric pattern and cut those in red. And this one she's done with double-sided adhesive and then sparkled. So that's got gemstones glitter on it and then cut through. That lovely big word which we've got coming up, and then the flourishes, which are appearing quite a lot, aren't they? We're going to see how useful those are. And we have another one here from Sue. I love this. Well, I love them all, but I just love this colour combination. We've got the pink, the lilac and the teal, and she's reflected that with the glitters, the gemstones glitters, and what she's used is aquamarine, Larimar, and violet sapphire. And then she's found matching cardstock, which is super, isn't it? And put acetate behind there. So she's done the glitter and then acetate and then put the heart on top. And again, she's drop shadowed it with some black, which is very effective. Now I've got a lovely one here from our gorgeous Ian. Very dramatic in the black, red and gold. So he's done some gold spray, spritzed across that black card, cut the outer edge in gold, cut the inner edge and the pattern in red, and cut the plain heart again out of the same sprayed card and set that behind. And then in red satin card he's replaced the middle hearts. Isn't that lovely? And I've got one here from Wendy, bringing in the lacy heart and combining that with the geometric hearts. And as you can see, the contours of these sit perfectly together. And if you look at this carefully, if you think about it, there's a cutting edge here and there's a cutting edge here. So there would have been a frame coming out of this. If you cut them both together, it would give you a lovely heart-shaped frame, wouldn't it? Endless possibilities, like I said. Then we've got this one from Sue. I'm not showing you all of them either. I've got so many, but I've got to save some to take on Hobby Maker, haven't I? So I'm not showing you them all. Now again, Sue's combined the geometric heart with the lacy heart. She's got the large love word and the flourishes going together. And although some of those cards have got the exact same elements on, they all look so very different, don't they? And I love this half diagonal slash that she's done across the card as well. That's really different and lovely as well. So those are the fabulous geometric hearts. Gorgeous set, and as I say, retailing for $13.99. Next we're going to move on and look at that stunning lacy heart. Let me just get these out. I've got so many of these, I can tell it was a favourite. Okay, so let me show you the actual die. This is our lovely lacy heart. And this one, I didn't even make the board up because I had that many bits and pieces and ideas. I just left them loose so that I could show you how they work. So this one is a slightly bigger set, and it's going to set you back $14.99. Okay, but these are a lot bigger than they look on the packet. So this one, the largest size is 4.8 by 4.7 inches, 12.2 by 11.8 centimeters. So that's a big die. You can see that there's a lot of metal. Again, a 3 die set. So you've got this cutting edge running between the two. The inside pattern will just cut the pattern and leave it in the card, and the outside edge is going to cut you a lacy edge. Let me show you just a few of the things that happen when you start cutting, because I know this can be confusing when you start to work with multi-die sets like this and you're not quite sure what's going to happen when you cut them. But it's worth just cutting them out. When I first started die cutting, I used to cut them out of white card just to see what they looked like, and then it started to click that what was actually happening. So if we take this outside lacy edge and cut it through a panel of card, it will give us the aperture, which is really interesting on its own. But this is what's come out of it. So it has this lacy bobbly edge, and it also has all these lovely little holes and a big hole here. Now to me that's screaming out to be hung up. I'm going to do a 3-dimensional decoration with this. I'm going to cut 6 of them. I'm going to fold them down the centre, form them into a ball and hang it up, and that will make a beautiful decoration for the tree, or if you were having a wedding. I mean, you know, you wouldn't want to make too many of them, I guess, but you can set all your friends and family going at it. But wouldn't that be stunning? Absolutely gorgeous. But also you've got the aperture, don't forget, and then you can set that back in a contrasting colour. And of course you've got these little holes, so you've the option to put something at the back of those as well. I like setting dies back into where they've come from, especially when they're a bit fancy. Yes, Diane, she says it's a great heart for steampunk. It really is. I love that. So that's the outside cutting edge. That's the first of these 3 dies. Then we've got our cutting edge heart, and when you cut that, it will give you a solid heart, and it's a lovely shape, lovely fat plump heart, very symmetrical. And the first thing that you could do is stack that on top of that and create another layer. So that's your first option. Another option would be to go back to our aperture and set that heart in the middle of the aperture. That's nice. I like that effect. So already I'm hoping you're beginning to understand why this is such a versatile set. Now if we cut the middle die, so this one on its own, it's going to leave the pattern in the card. This is what we mean when we say it cuts into the card. Hello Hazel. But it doesn't cut a shape out. But isn't that pretty? I love all these swirly flourishy bits. Absolutely beautiful. So you could just mat that as it is, put something pretty behind it, mat it onto a coloured piece. But don't forget, we have our aperture. Now you could put that aperture, you'd need to make this a bit bigger, but you could put that aperture back over that and you've got a different look entirely. So there we go again. You could use this, depending what you're wanting to do, in a contrast and put it behind that so it shines through. Use it as a support for, perhaps you wanted to use gilding flake, put the gilding flake on this, act it as a support behind the pattern, and then you could lift that panel if you wanted to. So again, a different option, and that's just showing the 3 dies cut individually and making use of the aperture. Now what happens when we start to combine them? Well, we get some beautiful results. This is going to give us the outer edge and the inner lacy panel without this plain cutting edge, and that's going to give you this stunning lacy heart. If we use the plain cutting edge and the inside lacy bit, it will give us this. And again, we can go back to our aperture, we can set that inside there, we can set it on top of the plain one that we did first, like this. So many things we can do. We can set it on the same shape, the same size, but in a different colour, and then we've got a really lovely, quite a firm solid heart. You also, of course, when you cut that cutting edge, get the aperture from that. So again, you can start to see how you could put this back into there and put a different colour at the back of it. I mean, it goes on. I quite like this double aperture effect as well. Put the lacy aperture over the plain aperture and you've got something else. Now when we start to cut these together, this is using the outer lacy edge and the inner lacy panel, and it gives us that. But if we cut the outer lacy edge and the plain heart edge, we actually get this gorgeous frame. And then again, you can start to see, hopefully, how you can start to build this up. We can put this back in here, and although it's similar to that, it's different because we've got a cut line between them, so you can do it in a different colour, but it gives it a bit more texture as well. So although they look very similar, this one's cut without the cutting edge, this one's cut with the cutting edge and then put back together, but of course you don't have to do that. So yeah, that's why I couldn't make a board, because there was just too much to talk about and too much to show you. But that is an absolutely beautiful, elegant, usable heart, and I think you're going to find lots of fun using that one. So that is our gorgeous lacy stained glass heart. That one is $14.99 RRP, and I think it's opening up a whole world of possibilities, isn't it? All right, so I want to show you the little flourishes next. So we have 2 in the pack, and these have got lots of detail. They're quite sizable. They look tiny on the packet, but they're actually 1.8 by 3.4 inches, and they've got left and right shaping. They've got little hearts on the end of the tendrils, which are beautiful, and I think these, as you've seen from some of the examples already, they're just great for filling in a little gap here and there, or even becoming a feature. But if you cut them out, you'll be able to see exactly what they look like. And again, going back to the aperture idea, I quite like the idea of using the negative, and I can see a background, a rectangle perhaps, with these just cut at random all through it, leaving the hole, and then putting something sparkly behind those. Hi Joanna. So that's your little heart flourishes, 2 in a pack, and those are just $9.99, and they're absolutely beautiful. And I've got loads of examples. Sue's used these ever such a lot on her samples, so let me show you some of those. So here we've got that lovely lacy heart. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. We've got these flourishes creeping in. There's, I don't know if it's 2 or 3 of them put together here, but they've certainly got snippability so that you can change them, put different little loops here and there, which is really going to be gorgeous. I've also got examples within this of the lacy heart, so you'll see that as we go along. This is a lovely one. Christine, she's done the aperture with the heart cut, and then she's done the fancy bit in the turquoise and set it behind, lifted all of that and then put a darker blue behind it, so that it's got real depth to that. That could equally be a shaker box if you wanted it to be. Here again we've got that lacy heart creating a frame, but we've got these lovely flourishes here, look, gorgeous. And again, the lacy heart, I absolutely love this, just simple red and coconut white. Lots of sparkle. Sue's gone to the trouble of putting tiny little seed pearls on the end of every one of those little stems from that heart. Isn't that beautiful? And she's backed it with the same shaped heart to give it a solid background, and then she's raised the whole thing. And this is that lovely big word coming up again. Here's another one with the lacy heart, but I want you to notice these flourishes coming into the corners, just filling up that gap a little bit. And again, stacked black and pink, glossy white in the middle. This is glossy white. I never think to use glossy white card. Isn't it lovely? Yes, violin vents, that's what they are. Yeah, I love them as well. I think they could be ever so useful. You think about all the times you build a flower flourish, and you might not want lots of leaves, but you want something just to fill it out. This is the perfect thing. Just tuck them in here and there, snip them up, use a little bit. Yeah, I think they're going to be dead useful. Here's another one combining the lacy heart, the geometric heart, and we've got the flourishes featuring on here. Now I love this one. This is Ian. Very dramatic in the red and black. I think this border has come out of the recent baby set. Am I right in that, or am I making it up? It's very nice anyway. And then he's done the same. He's cut a solid heart with the heart cut line, and then he's cut the fancy panel and the plain edge to create a heart and stack the two together. Really gorgeous, very dramatic. Love that. And I really like this. This is from Wendy. Very, very pretty with the pink, piggy pink, elephant grey and white in the Elite cardstock. And I love this time what she's done is set the heart in, so it's dropped behind, and this is raised. This panel here is lifted and that's sunk down. That's very pretty. Love that. And just take a little look at this little flower here. Just make a mental note. I've got to show you these because these are just beautiful. This is from Sharon, and Sharon's combined pink and red. Now I never think to put pink and red together, but I love it. She's brought in the butterfly corners, the flourishes, that little flower making an appearance again, and she's been using the linen paper to cut this heart, drop shadowed it with pink and cut the lacy edge out of the red as well. Beautiful. And the ribbons, they're going to make an appearance. I've got a gorgeous bundle of ribbons on Thursday for you. Let me show you this one. This has got real wedding vibes, doesn't it? All in the white and the ivory. Absolutely stunning. And again, featuring that lovely lacy heart and the edge of it as well. And teamed up with Jamie's nesting dies, always perfect. Just one more and then I'll move on. This one I absolutely adore. The colours are so different. We've got this gorgeous, bright, vibrant yellow, lemon and white. Very fresh, very zingy. Really like it. And I love that she's cut the Just For You and she's just put the You separate. So you can make different, you could use the Just separate and then the For You. It's got options, hasn't it? And here again, these beautiful flourishes and this little flower. Wonder where that's come from. These flourishes making an appearance. Gorgeous. And Wendy's used the aperture here and decorated that with pearls just to make it a little bit more special. Isn't that pretty? So that is your lacy heart and your little flourishes featuring quite a lot together, as I'm sure you've worked out. Right, so next we have the heart background. Now this is a beautiful, stunning background, and it's a big background as well. So here we go. So this is going to retail for $16.99. It's the most expensive die in the collection, but it's still not overly so, I don't think, for the size of it. Look at it. And it's 2 dies in the set. So it's one of those where you have the inner panel that you can cut without an edge, so you can leave the margins as wide as you want, and then you can use nesting dies to cut it down or make a frame over it or whatever you want to do. It has then a plain cutting edge as well, And so this is going to give you options. Here we go. So this is the middle panel cut just on its own, and it has no cutting edge. So the outside edges will be as wide as you want them to be. So then you can put a frame over the top of that, or you can cut it back with its own edge or with a different edge, and then you can start stacking it, matting it, layering it, whatever it is you want to do. And this is what you get when you cut the two together. It gives you a fixed rectangle with all those beautiful hearts, and you've seen this appearing on some of the samples already, sneaking into the backgrounds, but it's a beautiful die. And of course you get all of the hearts. I've put them in a bag because there are so many, but there are four sizes, these little titchy ones, and the next size up I think would be great in a little shaker box. And then you've got the huge ones, which you can use as a separate embellishment, and the medium ones as well. And I love the shape of these hearts with that little kick on the tail. I really like that. And of course, once you've got freestanding hearts, you can change the direction of them, so you can have them facing all different directions. And you'll see that on some of the samples that's been done. So this is our heart background, 2 dies in the set, $16.99. Let's have a look at some inspiration from Sue. So Sue's cut this in 4 colours and stacked it so that we get this lovely, very 3-dimensional look. It almost looks like the hearts are coming out, doesn't it? But they're actually not, they're behind. And then she's put double-sided adhesive at the back and glittered that. And then used her signature piercing edge, of course. Isn't that pretty? I love this background. Then we've got this one. This is stunning as well, and again she's stacked it 2 deep with black and coconut white, and we've got gilding flake in the background. We've got a multicoloured array of hearts. I'm guessing these have come out of this one, so it's a twofer. So she's used all the hearts that have come from all of these panels and then put them back in to make a completely different one. Isn't that clever? I love that. And then we've got this lovely word, the love word, which is what it's all about. Here we have the background. It's tricky to see because it's white on white, but she's used glossy card to cut the hearts. And she's used all the little cutout hearts to stack into each one of those. Isn't that a labour of love, but so effective? I can see that done all in different colours as well. Really pretty. And then this is what I mean about adding a frame around it if you want to. And she's popped that word across the centre. I love that. I love it. Then we've got this one, which is again spectacular. And she's done acetate on behind all the actual cutout panel, and then different colours of glitter behind each of the hearts. Again, it must have taken hours there. Hi Sheila. Yes, actually I'm going to do that in one of my demos. So the heart background, the size of it, sorry I didn't give it you, did I, is 4.75 by 6.3 inches or 12.1 by 15.9 centimetres, and obviously then the inside one is a little bit smaller. I hope that helps. So that's all sparkly gorgeousness. And then we have this one from Ian. This is really clever. He's gone to town with the ribbons. The ribbons are going to be on Thursday. I've got a lovely bundle of ribbons. And Ian's covered his whole background with strips of ribbon and then put that heart background over the top. How lovely is that? And I love that you can see all the stitch detail, all the different textures, all the different edges. It's really cool. And then the love word along the top. Here's another gorgeous one. I think this is Ian as well. It is red, black and white. Obviously his colour palette of choice. And he's done the same as Sue. He's put the hearts back in a different colour, and he's stacked them up on top of each of the little apertures, filled them all in. Beautiful. And this one is from Wendy, and Wendy's done some beautiful glittering in the background and a bit of marbling as well. I'm guessing she's used the glitter texture paste and some enchanted sprinkles. And again, I love this colour palette, this citrusy yellow with the mango. It's gorgeous, isn't it? And these flowers, well, I've got to tell you about these flowers in a minute. Here's one from Sharon. And Sharon's brought in the hot air balloon from one of the very early collections that Jamie brought out. And doesn't that work so well? And again, it's this thing we keep going on about it, how you can bring out the old and mix it with the new. And you can mix across the different brands. They're not exclusive. You don't have to keep everything to itself. You can let them share. And I love that. And she's also done a background here where she's stuck all those hearts, wow, back in place to create a fabulous border. Can you see that? So all the hearts that have come out of here, she's utilised to make a background. I think that's beautiful. So there you go. That's our heart background, which is absolutely gorgeous. And some stunning examples to get your juices flowing, hopefully. I mean, if it doesn't, then I don't think anything will. Right, so let's move on and have a look at the sentiments. Now, you've seen some of them, obviously, on some of the cards. But these feature the big love word. Now, you have seen this already on some of them as well. And I'm just going to show you a few more. Well, let me show you the die first. That'd be helpful, wouldn't it? What have I done with it? Here we are. So this is the love word. And this is a 2 die set. So you've got the outer cutting edge to give you the backdrop. Let me bring my board in. So the outer cutting edge will give you this solid block shape. The letters cut separately, but all at the same time. So you get the letters. And each of the letters has got a little icon that embosses into it. So you have lips, hearts, Cupid's arrows, and I think those are little crosses. Kiss, kiss. Yeah. Super. Absolutely super. So again, even just with 2 dies, look at all the options. You've got the aperture, where the letters have come out of, and you can put the letters back into that if you want to. You've got the independent letters. You've got the shadow backdrop, and you can put the letters back on top of that. If you cut them both at the same time, you will get this lovely frame. You need to remember to keep the middle out of your O and put it back in. When you cut this shadow out, you get the aperture of the shadow, and then you can put the letters back in. Just with 2 dies? That's incredible. So clever. Absolutely love it. And we've got just for you and from the heart on the sentiments as well. And that is these 2 beauties that we have here. And let me tell you the retail cost of those. So the big love word is $5.99. And these 2 mini expressions are $3.99 each. Sorry, $4.99 each. $4.99. They aren't as small as they look on the packet, as always, but they are dinky, which is quite nice, isn't it, to ring the changes. So those are the sentiments, and I think you'll agree, very, very usable. The other thing I've noticed about this particular one is that it teams up with the peace and the joy that Sue did in her recent Christmas collection that also had letters with little icons on them. Now I think this might be slightly bigger, but you've got peace, love and joy all in a similar style that are going to work fantastically well. So you could certainly put this in with your Christmas cards using that collection as well, which I think is brilliant. We always like versatility, don't we, in what we're buying. So let me show you some examples of where the word stands proud and centre. Sparkled letters. We've got the heart background with hearts put back in gloss. We've got this flower appearing again, and we've got flourishes. And we've got a heart frame, which is from an older set of Sue's, which was really beautiful as well. So again, if you've got any of that collection, it's going to work. They're all going to work together. Now I've got some gorgeous dinky cards from Christine. I like this. She's done love, love, love in 3 different colours and just used the aperture and put the middle of the O back in. You've always got to remember to do that. Then she's gone really fancy here, and I've got a feeling this might be some Crafty Concoctions glitter. She's cut that heart background, glittered behind it, and used love and banded it with the ribbon. Isn't that super? We also have a stencil, which I'm coming to, and Christine's used the stencil here to create this background, and she's used some of the paste from Crafty Concoctions and added ink and stenciled that through, and then she's added the big word on the front, and then she's used the negative part of the stencil, so misting the ink that's left on the stencil, pressing that into the card and getting the negative effect from the heart. I love that. She's cut the aperture and she's sunk the letters behind, so this white panel is actually raised, as is the middle of the O, and the black letters have been sunk behind, so that's very effective as well. Then we've got some from Sue, and we saw Sue do this with her peace word at Christmas, where she did peace, 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 and then pick one out in colour. She's done exactly the same with the love, and isn't it beautiful? Very effective. Yes, thank you, Tracy. Sorry, I missed that. Then we've got another one here with different effects from the love. If you remember, I showed you how to create the frame, which you've got here. The solid, which is also behind it. We've got the solid here, and we've got the individual letters, and we've got the outline as well, so using everything on there. And I love these hearts are stuck up on little foam pads, really pronounced. It looks like a scattering of confetti. I absolutely love that. This one's from Ian. He's done a grand job on that, hasn't he? Very pretty. And then we have one here from Sharon, and Sharon's used that beautiful lacy heart centre, cut the aperture, set the lacy heart in, used the butterfly corners and the love word again in the middle there. This is another beautiful one from Sharon, using that word 4 times, using the outline, using the letters and stacking them in different colours. I think that's gorgeous. I think she'll have great fun doing that. And then this one's a little bit different. I did want to show you this one, because this is Sharon again. She's used the letters vertically, and she's added little tiny gems onto those letters just to accent them. Isn't that pretty? And bringing in some pretty paper, and then the geometric heart at the top as well. Absolutely gorgeous. It is. It's a mind-boggling just how much you can achieve with a few bits and bobs and some fantastic dies. Products that work, products that you know you can trust. From Sue Wilson, you always know that they're going to work, because she is a crafter's crafter, and she knows exactly how she wants them to work, and that means we know they're going to work for us as well. So I think that's absolutely brilliant. So I'm just going to run through that collection again for you. So we have the heart background. This one is $16.99. We've got, I've lost some of them, the lacy heart. This one is a firm favourite already, I think, and that's $14.99. Then we've got the geometric hearts. These are $13.99. We have our super little flourishes at $9.99. We have the little heart wreath also at $9.99. We have the large love word at $5.99. We have the just for you and the from the heart each at $4.99. Hi Jackie. So that's the collection, plus a fantastic 8x8 stencil, and this is a very symmetrical grid style pattern. But don't always think that that's how you have to use it. There's nothing to stop you using it diagonally, and there's nothing to stop you just doing a corner with it or just doing a stripe with it. You know, lots of options. So let's have a look at a couple of examples where the stencil is featured. This is an 8x8 stencil, and that's going to set you back $6.99. This is Christine again, and she's used some of the Crafty Concoctions inks and pastes through that stencil, which is just glorious. The colour is stunning, the sparkle is remarkable, and then she's combined it with the lacy heart from the geometric hearts, and some of the plainer hearts she's stacked, which is just gorgeous. And I love this one in the middle. She's used one of these but cut it out with a very thin white edge and used it as a feature. How lovely is that? And then we have this one from Ian, and he's gone full on red with the glitter paste. So this is going to be a ruby red glitter paste. He's teamed it up with a geometric heart, put a little gold heart in the middle, decorated the corners of his frame, and just for you from the heart, combining those sentiments beautifully to make up that lovely phrase. Isn't that stunning? So this is your gorgeous heart stencil, 8x8, cut in thick mylar, $6.99. All right, and that is all of the collection that we have for you. This is launching on Hobby Maker next Thursday. My show times are 2 p.m. and 6 p.m, so I hope you can join me for that, where I'll be showing you lots of inspiration, hopefully get some demos in if I get a chance, and loads more inspiration as well. So there's one more thing I wanted to talk to you about. I've been teasing you with it. This is a throwback set, as we're calling them, a little older set from Sue, and it's called the Heart Leaf Flower. How could we not use it with this collection? It's the prettiest little flower, and it has these lovely little heart-shaped leaves, which I actually think would work well as ivy as well at Christmas, in a little Christmas floral arrangement. You've got left and right, and you've got 3 sizes of blossom. Really pretty. Now this is going to be appearing on Thursday, and there will be a little cheeky price on it. So keep your eyes out for that as well. Oh, it's all so exciting. So there we are. So have we any questions? I'm just going to come back and say hello. Hello. How are we all doing? I don't think I've missed any questions. I keep trying to catch up. Don't forget, this isn't released yet, so don't go panicking thinking you can't find it. It will be released on Hobby Maker exclusively on Thursday, and then the Thursday after I'll be doing stockist launch, so then you'll be able to find out which of your local stockists have got it. So everybody seems to be loving this collection, and what's not to like? Yeah, absolutely great. Okay, so let me give you some dates and updates, because there's a lot going on and it's all very, very exciting. So let me think, what day is it? Thursday. Thursday, right. So on Saturday, which is the 29th, is that right? Yeah, Saturday the 29th, Jamie's going to be launching Crafty Concoctions on Hobby Maker, and I think the world is waiting. It's just explosive, and I think it's going to be an incredible show. 2 shows. So 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock. My hands are freezing. Sorry, I'm just rubbing my hands. 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock on Saturday, and he'll be showing you as much as he possibly can. I mean, excuse me. If you caught his live on Monday, you'll realise he can't ever get through it all. Certainly not in 2 hours. He's got about 24 sort of techniques, I think, that he's wanting to share. Let's hope he gets a chance, because it's so intriguing and it's so exciting, and yeah, it's just gorgeous. And then at 9 o'clock, he's got a special hour. He's been invited back to do a kind of Black Friday type show. Just for 1 hour, and that's going to be a throwback show with older die sets, and the prices are ridiculously cheap. Inexpensive, should I say, not cheap. So if you can stay awake for that, then that'll be worth watching as well. But certainly tune in for Crafty Concoctions, because that's going to be mega, absolutely mega, and it will be the first place and the first time that those are going to be available. So if you've been waiting since Monday to get your hands on them, now's your chance. Or Saturday's your chance. Okay. So that's Jamie on Saturday, and then on Monday, the foolish man has decided to open his shop. So I don't know if you've been following what's been going on Facebook, but he's moving his Craftmania store into where the warehouse is, or next door to where the warehouse and the headquarters are. And he's having an opening on Monday at 10 o'clock. So if you're in the vicinity or you'd like to travel down to be the first in there, I'm sure it's going to be a super busy day. Everybody's very excited about it, and they've worked so hard. They're probably at it tonight, building stuff still and putting stuff up and sorting stuff out. Do you know, Sheila, I've still got my lab coats because I used to be a lab technician, a dental technician, and I've still got white coats. I thought I might have to dig them out. I don't think they'll fit me now. Well, that'd be funny if we all turned up in white coats. Yeah, so Monday from 10 a.m. The new Craftmania store is opening officially, and I've seen some pictures of it. It looks stunning. Oh, it's full of all this gorgeous goodness. It's so inspiring. I think you'll have a lovely time if you can make it down there. However, if you can't make it then, again, pop a date in your diary for the 13th of December. And this all happened very quickly. Jamie and I are going to be holding a demo day at Craftmania, and the two of us will be there to demonstrate. So it's going to be mayhem and madness, fun and laughter, and it'll be amazing to meet some of you. So I hope you're going to be able to come down for that and join us, because that's going to be amazing as well. It's all amazing. I know we say this a lot, and it sounds like we overuse the word amazing, but it is. It truly is. When you think how far they've come in such a short space of time, it's great. So wish them all the best with that. All right, let me see what else I can tell you about. So Craftmania opens 10 o'clock. Crafty Concoctions on Saturday at 1 and 6. 9 o'clock throwback show with cheeky prices. Monday night, I don't know if he's... I'm sure he will be doing his live, if he still can walk after the day in the shop. It should be stockist launch for Crafty Concoctions, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie, please, if you're still there. And then, as I say, I'm on Hobbymaker on the 4th of December with this collection that we've talked about tonight. So there's a lot going on, and there's more, but I can't tell you about any of that. It'd shoot me. But it's all worth staying around for and connecting with us. Joining in the lives is where you're going to find out all the news. Oh, thank you. So the live will still go ahead. And is it going to be stockist launch for Crafty Concoctions, Jamie? Please. Don't want to give them the wrong info. I don't know how you're going to do it. How are you going to fit it all in? I just don't think he sleeps. Right, so let's do a little bit of demoing, shall we? If you're up for that. Okay, I'm going to do a couple of cards that I've been working on from this collection. Let's move on over. Here we are. I need to change my eyes. So here we've got obviously just classic red and white. And I'm going to show you, was it Sheila asked about embossing a die? Embossing with a die. That's what I've done on this heart. So that I'm going to show you that during this demonstration. So I hope you're still there. Right, sorry, I'm just going to reiterate. Monday's live will be stockist launch for Crafty Concoctions. And then he says he can go to sleep. I'm sure he'll be ready for that. Alright, so let's have a look at the bits and bobs for this card. I'm going to start with a little bit of stenciling. I know this is hard to see because it's all going to be white on white, but I'm going to use that Fabulous Heart stencil. I only need a little strip of it, so I'm just going to pop my stencil down, and I'm going to use the Diamond White Gemstones texture paste. I only need about 6 rows of hearts, something like that, and then I'm going to chop this back. Oh, I've not opened, it's a new pot, I've not opened it. Let me just do that. There we go. Okay. It's like cleaning off your yogurt pot, isn't it? Ooh, it's lush. Alright, so I'm going to first of all try to make sure I've got my pattern symmetrical. I mean, you don't have to do this. You can make a bigger piece and then cut it back. I've gone ahead and cut my card down to size to start with, which makes life a little bit more difficult, but it's fine. So let's just pop this through. As I say, I probably need about 5 or 6 rows, but if you make a bigger piece and cut it back, well, it's slightly more wasteful, but it's probably easier than measuring it up first and then trying to make it fit. I don't know, I never make life easy for myself. I always like to do it the hard way. So I'm just popping this through. It's lovely, this paste, it just glides on, and because the stencils are so lovely and thick, you get a really gorgeous depth to your texture paste of any description. So have a think about all the possibilities with crafty concoctions and this gorgeous stencil. Maybe you could do something like Christine did and do all those beautifully bright coloured hearts with lots of sparkle. Right. Just gather back any that's left. Keep that foil, helps keep it fresh. And then I'm just going to pop this into some water and let it sit. It'll be fine as long as it's in water. It's fine. All right. So if I lift this up, hopefully now you can see those lovely hearts, and they're going to dry beautifully and be nice and sparkly. So set that aside to dry. I have got one obviously that I did earlier, which is always a good thing. And it's already cut to size. So there we are. We've got this lovely little panel with sparkly hearts, just white on white. Quite effective. And I only really did that because the rest of it's quite plain, really. And I just wanted something to introduce a little bit of texture. And I've talked about this before. Sometimes when you're making a card and you feel it's a little bit blank or it's just missing something, the temptation is to reach for another embellishment or put something else on it, and you don't always need to. Quite often it's just something like this, which is a bit of pattern or a bit of texture. It doesn't have to be another thing or another colour, and that's how I ended up doing this panel. So the card itself is relatively simple, but I think it's quite effective. So I've used this cardstock, is the most gorgeous red. It's called Deep Rose, but it's fabulous as a Christmas red as well. It's a proper red, what I call a proper red. It's just beautiful. And I'm going to set my white panel onto that and just a tiny red edge down each side. I don't want red top and bottom, and I'll show you why in a minute. I did just want to point out to you, if you have done a panel like this and you've got a little bit of the paste sticking over the edge, just sand it off. Honestly, it's dead easy to just file away any rough bits, and it just leaves it really beautifully straight and gets rid of any rough jagged bits. Because obviously when it dries it goes hard, but you can definitely file it down and it just makes it really neat. You can just take off that rough edge. I'm just using a sanding block, but you could use an emery board, or it's better with something that's hard rather than trying to do it with sandpaper, because with sandpaper you haven't really got the resistance you need. But yeah, that's just a little tip. Anyway, so I'm going to put these two together. Where's my glue? Here we are. Just really simple, matte on matte. As I say, I've got red down the edges but not at the top and bottom, because I'm going to matte it onto red, so it's going to have red on it anyway. And I wanted the edges of my mats and layers to line up, so hence why I did it this way. I do love this glue, that you can squiggle it about and get it right, because that wasn't right. Okay, and then just give that a good press, and we'll just let that dry. Okay, and then I've got a 7x7 card here that I made myself, and then I've chosen to bring in Jamie's nesting panel dies, and I've got the scalloped and pierced square here cut in the red, and I've just gone red and white, red and white. I thought about introducing some silver but didn't in the end, but you could do, or you could bring in some black like Ian did with his lovely red and black and white cards. They were very striking, weren't they? So we'll pop that on there, straight, and then I've done the same. I've got I've brought the plain edge squares. The reason I've cut my squares with the dies is because the sizing is perfect, and it gives you this perfect little edge between the two layers. So I've got scalloped and pierced in the red, and I've got the white cut with the plain squares, and I've got foam on the back of this. So I'm just going to map these two together. I thought I'd do a fairly simple card just to show you don't have to be doing all these. I mean, we tend to do quite big production numbers because we're showcasing what we're doing, you know, and on the TV they need to be pretty visible. So, you know, that's why we tend to go a bit bigger and bolder. But you don't always have to, that's for sure. Okay, and then I've got another white panel here. I've got foam on the back of this, and this one's going to go on top of here, and then my panel down the middle, and that's why I didn't need a red border here or here, because I wanted the white line to run right through. Okay, so that's the basic construction of the card itself. And then the decoration is two of these. So this is the geometric heart. If I can find the board again, I'll show you which bits I've used. So I've used just the plain outer edge from the die set, and it's the larger of the two. I've just taken this outside edge and cut two hearts with that, and it's given me the solid heart like that. Okay, and then I wanted to ring the changes through that a little bit by embossing a pattern onto this one. They look nice, plain, but I thought it'd be nice to have a bit of a difference on this one, so I want to emboss it, and I'm going to use a die to do that. And I'm going to use the middle from the lacy die, which had that lovely flourishy pattern. I can find it. So this, which is out of the middle of the lacy die. That's all right, Jasmine. See you soon. All right, and I'm going to use this to emboss the pattern into the card. Okay, so this is a rule of thumb. I can't tell you what your machine's going to do, but you must have some sort of plate. It might be a base plate or it might be a thin plate, depending on what machine you're using. Your die goes next to the plate with the cutting surface facing up, like so. And then whatever it is you want to emboss goes face down, so the right side towards the cutting surface, as if you were cutting it, but we're not going to cut it. No cutting plates in sight. Okay. Then I'm going to use a rubber mat, and this is the one that came with my machine, and that goes on next. Now this is a soft, pliable rubber mat, And this is what pushes the card because it's flexible. When you use a cutting plate, it's firm and hard. It doesn't do this. But the rubber mat can push that card down into the detail on the die. I'm just going to line that up a little bit better. Okay, but because this isn't hard, it can't cut it. It can only cut, a die can only cut when it's facing a very hard surface, i.e. your cutting plates, hence the name. So, if I put the rubber mat on there, and then I have this extra pad for my machine, which is slightly thicker than a cutting plate, and that goes on next. And this is the one that suits my machine. Now, your machine will probably have one, but it'll probably be very different. But your machine should have instructions to tell you which plates are which, and then you can work out how to do this method. One thing I would say is don't run it backwards and forwards through your machine. Just run it, well, forwards and backwards should I say. Just run it one way only, because the rubber mat can stretch and move. Right, so this is what I've got, which looks a bit weird. But you can see the pattern is embossed into the card. Okay, so when I take this out from the die, it isn't cut, it's embossed. This card is 300 GSM, so it will stand this. If you're using a very thin piece of card, it might cut some of it. If you find that happens, do 2 layers together, and then you'll get one that's embossed and not cut. It looks like it's cut, but it's really not. It's just because the cutting edges of the die are quite thin and fine, and they've imprinted into the card. And that's how you do it. Fabulous, isn't it? Gives your dies a whole nother life as well. So, I'm going to finish constructing this. I'm going to apply my centre panel onto my white panel. And then I'm going to attach my hearts, and that's going to be it really, a sentiment on the front. So nice and simple. And if you think, oh, it's a bit big for me, that card, Gwen, that's fine. You don't have to do all the mats and layers I've done. Do a couple less and it'll be just as lovely. Right, I'm going to stand that up so I can get the bottom straight. Try and get it in the middle, that's always good. I'm terrible. I do usually measure when I'm doing things like this. Make sure I get it absolutely bob on. But that's just me. So there we are. We've got that up the centre. Just give it a couple of minutes to set. Alright. And then we can pop that onto our card. So. Sheila, I hope you do. I'm assuming you've been having a bit of bother with your chappie trying to do this. I hope it works for you. You might have to fiddle around with your plates a bit, or like I say, you might need to be using a thicker piece of card. I don't know what issues you're having. But we'll try to solve them for you if we can. Right, so now I can decide how to pop these hearts on here, and I like them at a jaunty angle myself, so I'm going to have one there and one something like that. And because this is quite stacked by now, so I've got some foam just on that corner to lift that side of the heart up, because otherwise it's going to be uneven. And now I've embossed this one, I can do the same for this one. So I'll just decide where I'm having them, and then I'll just put some foam on this side here. I've got a little piece already. I'll just put it right on that outside corner, and then the rest can go down flat. Just a bit of glue. Just remember, when you're gluing on top of glitter, even if it's paste or loose glitter, it's going to take a little bit longer to fix up. Do you know, I've just done that and I've not taken the backing off. That was a bit daft, wasn't it? Hey, I don't know. There we go. Okay, and I'll do the same with this one. Take the foam off, or the backing off the foam rather, and then glue down this side. And let's get that into place. Something like so. Okay. Just let the glue set for a minute or two. And then I've cut the From the Heart sentiment from that red card and matted it onto a white rectangle, which I've just trimmed on my trimmer. And I'm just going to pop this across the middle. Like so. Okay, and there you have it. There's the one I did earlier, there's the one I've just done tonight. Okay, so that's one little idea, using the stencil, using the lacy heart centre, the lacy stained glass heart centre, and using the geometric hearts as well. I have added some of the teeny weeny little hearts that came out of the heart background, just as little decorative elements, and a few scattered on the background as well. You can just pick those up. They're very teeny, but they just, again, it breaks up this blank space that there was happening. So that's just a little extra embellishment. But you could do it with gems, pearls, whatever you like. Okay, so that's the first one. I have one more for you. How are we doing for time? Oh, not too bad. Okay, I'll touch this one in, and I'm going to have a look at that beautiful heart background die. I couldn't wait to start working with this one. I absolutely love it. I've got so many ideas. And this is what I've done for this one. Okay, so this is the heart background. I'm using gemstones glitter. I've got some of the ribbon. I've used a couple of the teeny hearts, and I've used the Just For You. And this lovely lavender coloured card, which is actually called Soft Lilac, that's also going to be in the card bundle on Thursday next week. So let's have a look at this one, shall we? So the first thing I've done is I have cut my heart background without the edge. So these edges are wider than you would get if you cut it with its own edge. Okay. And I just wanted to show you something, because some of you may know I love my jelly plate. And when you start working on your jelly plate, you end up with loads and loads of backgrounds, and they get stuck in a box thinking I'll use them later. Some of them I don't particularly like, so I think, well, I'll use them and do something different. I may die cut out of them, or print something else on top of them, or there's lots of ways you can use them. I never throw them away. But I've got this one that I really wasn't very happy with. It's just a bit splotchy and blotchy. It didn't quite work out. And I thought, well, that would look really nice behind this background. And look how much prettier it looks when you break it up and it's not that solid pink that it was before. So it may be that you've got some backgrounds that you're not that keen on, you don't know what to do with. Try them behind a die cut like this that's got lots of little windows in it. I think you'll find it looks completely different. So that's just one little idea for you, but that's not what I'm going to do tonight. So I have got a piece of card, and this is being cut with the outside edge of the die. Let me just get the die so this is slightly easier for you to visualise, hopefully. So for this piece, come here, I've cut this on its own like that, no cutting edge, and so the margins are as wide as I want them to be. Okay, then for this piece I've used the outside cutting edge and cut myself a panel, and that panel is what I want to sit behind there, because I know it's the right size. It just makes it a little bit easier. I've also cut some double-sided adhesive to the same size as this, and I'm now going to mat the two together. So take away the backing, line up the edges, let's pop that down. Okie dokie. So now I've got a sticky surface and I can apply glitter to that. But I don't want to do that first. What I want to do first is apply this to it. It would be silly to glitter the whole thing. It would be a waste, wouldn't it? So let's get the die cut stuck down first. So we'll take off the other side of our backing paper and then we can position this over it. And we know it's the right size because we've cut it with its own edge. So we'll pop that down. And then bring back the backing paper so that you can really press that down nice and firm, and make sure all those little struts between the hearts are stuck down, because if they're not, then your glitter's going to get underneath and it doesn't look quite so nice. Okie dokie. So that's the first thing, and now I'm going to glitter this. And I'm going to use a combination of pink sapphire and violet sapphire in the gemstones. So I'm going to need some paper to capture all this. And I want to do pink at the top and then a kind of a mix in the middle and then darker at the bottom. So that's the idea. So I'm just going to sprinkle this on. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. But I want to try to not contaminate my glitter too much, so I'm going to rub this in. Give it a good old burnish with your finger. And don't worry about filling up a complete heart when you get to this point. Okay. So that's the first little bit, isn't it lovely? I'll save that. Sort it out later. Get another piece of paper. And I'm going to start at the other end with the darker of the two colours. Oh, that nearly ended up on the floor then. Okay, so I'm going to sprinkle from this end with the stronger colour. And again, just get your finger in there, don't be scared. This glitter's not crusty, like some glitters are really crusty, aren't they? This isn't, it's quite soft, so it doesn't feel like it's taking the skin off your fingers. And I've just left a little bit in the middle there that's not quite filled up, so I'll tip that away from the pink side. Okay, and then what I can do is put a little bit of a mix in the middle. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of each colour. And then I'll tip that off. This is just because if you don't do this, you'll end up with quite a harsh dividing line between the two colours. So I always try to blend them a little bit, much like you do with ink, really. Oops. Okay. And then just rub that one in a little bit. Just don't want to contaminate your glitter, that's the thing. Take that away. And then we've got a beautiful, not quite ombre, but getting that way, glittered background. Isn't it pretty? I'll just put this glitter away before I spill it. Okay, so quick clean up required. Where's my brush? Oh, I'll use this. Just get rid of any loose glitter. Alright, and then we're ready to go. So that's the main technique, if you like, on this card. Not too much to do, and very pretty result. Okay. Lovely, isn't it? Sparkle, sparkle. And then what I wanted to do was create a frame to go over this, and that's going to finish off the edges nicely. So what I've done, I've taken the edge that comes with the die set, and I've also taken one of Jamie's nesting dice, so the plain rectangles. Now his rectangles are longer than this rectangle is from this set. So I've used the nesting rectangle to cut the outside, and then I've put this one into it like this, keeping these two edges and the top as even as possible, but the bottom is wider. And that just gives a little interesting detail to the card. And then when I put my frame over there, I've got this wider panel at the bottom, and I thought that was perfect for adding some ribbon to. So that's my next job, and I've already got some double-sided tape. I've already got my ribbon bow tied. I just need to add it to this now. So I'm going to pop it just, I like my bows off centre, so I'm going to pop it there. I would fix that with a little bit of glue, but I need to get it in place first. So I'll get the back off my tape, and then bring the end across that and stick it down. Okay, and then I need to stretch that across and do the same on this side. Double-sided tape's really good for sticking ribbon. Glue not so much, because it tends to seep through, especially when you've got a beautiful organza like this one. So tape's a good alternative. Ooh, that's not very straight. And you can peel it off and move it, which is also a bonus. But it does need trapping. There we are. So now we've got this lovely little bow border. I'll trim my ends when I've finished everything. It does need trapping between two layers of sticky. So either another layer of double-sided tape going over the top of that, or I'm going to use, if I can find it, a strip of foam. But I'm going to make sure when I attach this that I catch the ends of the ribbon as well underneath, so they're sandwiched, and that way it's not going to come out. Okay, so now we can attach it on top of our glittered panel, which is still shedding itself. Right, so this can go on here now. So this could be a lovely birthday card for a, you know, perhaps a younger person. It could be, you know, an engagement card, could be a wedding card, could be anything, could be a Valentine's card. It's just a really pretty sort of pattern. So I'm taking all the foam tape off. Actually, I'm not going to take the bottom layer off, because that's going to stick to my table if I do that. So just take the three sides off and get this where I want it, and then pop it down. Okay, there we go. That's not too bad. Right, and then I've got my card. I've already started matting and layering as we do. So I've got, again, I've taken Jamie's scalloped rectangles and cut a plain panel of the soft lavender. And now I can attach this panel to that. And this is a great way of showing how you can combine rectangles when they don't necessarily have the same contours, the same dimensions. And it's nice to add this border at the bottom, just create a point of difference. And now we've got all these beautiful ribbons to go at. It's a perfect spot to put them, isn't it? So let's attach this to our card. That should do it. I'm just going to turn it sideways. Sometimes when I've got a very tall rectangular card and you can't see the top of it, So turn it sideways. It gives you a bit of a better viewpoint. There we are. Okay. And then I've got the Just For You cut in the same soft lavender, and I've cut the rectangle with Jamie's plain rectangles, and I'm going to attach this. I like it offside, like I've got my bow here, so I'm putting my sentiment up there. I tell you all these details in the hope that you might get some design tips, but you might not. You might think it's rubbish, which is fine, but you might pick something up. And I'm just going to pop that, not right to the outside edge, and try and get it straight. Oops. Like that. It's not too bad. Okay. And then all I need to do now is just trim the ends of my ribbon. Always make sure your scissors are really sharp for cutting ribbon, otherwise they get in a right mess, don't you? There we are. So there we have it, a little bow and a lovely glittery sparkly heart-shaped background. Not heart-shaped, heart background. Alright, so there's the one I've already done, and there's the one I've just done for you tonight. Okay. I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you've picked up some tips. Here's the other one that we've done tonight as well. And I think that's me done. So if you've got any questions, it's probably, I don't think I've missed any questions. I hope you've got all the dates down in your diary, and I very much hope that you can join Jamie on Saturday. I'm sure you're itching to see what he's going to be doing with Crafty Concoctions on Saturday on Hobby Maker at 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. So without further ado, I will thank you all very much for your pleasant company, and I'll wish you all a very good evening. I'll see you soon. Take care.